Thanks for clicking on the video. Like, subscribe, and share if you find this useful or interesting. Okay, so I'm recording. I've already done all this work, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do all of this. But this video is nuts. It's too long, it's too hard, it's too tedious, to the point where I feel compelled to make it even longer by recording this prologue. But it is useful documentation of the system if you, for some reason, needed to do this today. It's not really justified for the level of effort, but there is, or I will add in the comments, a very detailed set of timestamps for the different phases. It's going to be basically like a book. So I recommend you jump around from timestamp to timestamp, or watch it on double speed or something like that, just to see what it's about before you embark on actually doing this. Now, the result, in my opinion, is just insanely good. Look at this thing. I have all straight lines in this model, and look at what I get out of the blends. All the character of each section is maintained, and to me, the quality of this corner is just nuts. The flow of everything, these highlights, the quality here. I've chased the defect from the corner all the way to here, and you can't even see it. And yeah, I like the system, but the way I normally work on this, and the reason I've put up with it over time, is because I'm always programming and modeling at the same time. So I take a break from programming to improve the tools, and I always just improve whatever's bugging me at the time. So I've never really seen the process fully play out. Anyway, so that's just a warning. You can do this. I'm going to show you how to do it right now. But it's pretty nutty. So I would say watch it for entertainment and try to enjoy. I did this one corner, and I spent a bit of time explaining what I was doing, and now I need to do everything. I'm actually going to switch back to this model here so that I can do things a little bit more in order. So we have and also we will get a picture of how long it takes to do the whole thing when I'm not stopping and explaining a lot. So I'm not going to work on this. I'm going to work on this guy. And first off, I'm going to do a save as. See tutorial files. That's the wrong folder. Go right here. Go to copy paste all the way to the end. It's going to be 105. I'm going to call this full blend solid 3x4. Okay. Now, first off, I want to organize these points a little bit because these are what actually matter for editing. If you remember from what I was doing, playing around with the blend at the end of the last episode, the only thing you can really edit is the position of these points, and there's only two values you can edit to control the blend. So these points is what we're going to come back to later. When we create all the little bits and pieces of the curves, of the surface, the new surface, everything, we won't be editing those very much. There are things we want to fine-tune when we have a complete model, but we don't need to know exactly where they are. We will have better ways of accessing them directly. But this I want to sort. So I'm going to make 4 folders. And what are they? They are roll, cuts, and the first one is going to be this loop, and it's the left side. I'm going to call it roll cuts left. Roll cuts right. That's the loop from this point right here. And then roll cuts bottom. That's the loop on this point right here. And roll cuts top. That's the loop on this guy right here. So I see this guy, and I made the points in a different order, so now I'm just going to have to find them one by one. This is to the left, to the right. What about this guy? This is to the right. This guy here, this is to the left. This guy here, to the left. This guy here, to the right. This guy here, which one is it? It's this guy in the back. This is to the right. This guy here, to the left. This guy here, this is on the bottom. And the next 3 points are also on the bottom. And here I have what I have left is everything on top. Okay. So now I'm going to do as a batch all the little curved segments. And that's the deal where I'm going to be juggling around and hiding the curves back and forth to get what I want. And that's the painful part. And here we're going to see what it takes to do that all in a batch. From this solid, I will need, in the blending setup, the curve points will all stay on. And then I'm going to need some of these curved starts and some of these curved ends. And I'm going to be a little bit more, actually I'm going to be very specific about which points I use. When I'm cutting up this curve, I want the start point of this curve and the end point of this curve. I don't want to accidentally click the start point of the vertical curve because it has its own start point. So when I look here, these are all the start points on the bottom loop for the first layout. These are all the start points on the middle layout, top layout, and then these guys here that aren't in a folder is for the spans. And actually, I'm going to make a folder for that. I'm going to drop it in here and drop it in curve starts. I'm going to give it the same kind of name as this folder. So it has the name of the object plus an S, and it will renumber itself automatically. And I don't need to, I'm not going to split it into the lower span starts and upper span starts because they're never on top of each other. But now I have a way to quickly turn on these points separately from the start points on the bottom. Okay. So in here, I'm going to work on the bottom curve. So I want on these bottom curves. So these are the start points I want to have active. Hide this, hide that. Select this curve, hide it. Click this point, make the segment, hide the segment, turn all the curves back on. This curve, this point, make the segment. It's not on top of anything, so I'm not going to bother hiding it. Then I go to here. It's this curve again. This point, make the segment. Oh, it didn't work. For some reason, I must have had something wrong selected. I'm just going to delete it. This guy, this guy, this guy. Let's select, maybe, am I hitting the wrong tool? It is this curve, this point. Okay, it worked. I don't know what I was clicking wrong. If I backtrack on the video, I could figure it out, but I don't care. Now I do want to hide this, and because I'm going to the end here, I'm not going to attach to this endpoint. I'm going to attach to, and I'm not going to attach myself to the start of the next curve. I'm going to attach myself to the endpoint. hide this curve, hide this curve, select this guy, this point. I forgot to hide the curve. Select the curve, hide it. Oh, hit the wrong thing. That's the first curve here, okay. And you know, as a matter of fact, to avoid what just happened, I'm going to hide the surfaces. Click out, click this curve, click this. Oh yeah. Remember, this is painful, I know. Click the curve, hide it, control, segment. Okay, we're done. Now I'm going to do the backside. Now I need the start point. So I hide the end. Turn on the first folder of start points. Click this guy, hide it. Oh, forgot to hide this guy. Click this guy, hide it. Click this guy, click this guy. Segment. Okay, that worked. And the curves. Hide these guys. Where are my full curves? Right here. Turn the curves on here. Hide this control polygon. This guy. This guy. This guy. Segment. Don't need to hide it. Move on. This guy. This guy. This guy. Segment. Okay, now I have to be careful and hide things, but also I want the ends, not the starts. Hide the last control polygon segment. Hide this curve. Hide this curve. Pick this guy. Hide it. This guy. This guy. Make the polygon. Okay. Now I have, let me double check. I should have all the polygons on the bottom. I want to hide the curves. Yep, I see that I do. All the polygons on the bottom. This is 1/3 of the work, by the way, as far as making these segments. Turn these guys back on. Now I'm going to do the top. Collapse the curves, collapse the surfaces. I come back to the front, so I'm going to be working with a start point. And as a matter of fact, in these curves here, I'm not going to show them all. I'm going to show only the loop that I'm actually working on. That'll be a little bit less stuff to juggle. And I want the start points. Specifically, I want the start points at the top. Okay. I want to avoid this curve. Select this guy, hide it, control click, make the segment, got it, hide it, turn my curves back on, specifically this guy, this curve, select it, don't need to hide it, this guy, make the segment, go right here, this curve, don't need to hide it, this guy, make the segment, hide these two. I'm going to need to hide this curve as well. Select this guy, hide it, control click, make the segment. I am done with this edge. I need to do the back edge. And you know what? I should have had the endpoint for this guy. So close the cuts, hide the starts, show the ends, show these curves. I'm working on this segment. Hide this guy, click this guy, hide it. Oh, this guy here, hide it as well. This curve, hide it. This point, this point. Okay, now I have the 4 segments for this curve, and I correctly use the start point and the end point where appropriate. Now let's do the back end. Hide the curve ends. Show the curve starts. This curve, hide it. The start point. This point. Make the segment. Hide the segment. Show the curve. This curve. This point. This point. Good. Move on immediately. This guy. This guy. Control this guy. Hide it because it's going to be in the way. I'm looking at the start point. I want the end point. Hide the start. Show the end. Hide this curve. Select this curve. Hide it. Control click. Control click. Show the segment. Okay, here. I hide all my curves. I see that I have all 8 segments I need for the top area. Okay. Now I have to do the verticals. I've done 2/3 of this nonsense. And this is complete nonsense. I know. It's just the way it is right now. Sorry. I'm going to be working on the bottom. What do I want to look at? I want to look at the span curves. I want to look at their starts. It's this thing here. Because these polygons here touch at the bottom, I don't want to look at any of them. I'm going to do this, the 2 pieces 4 times around these curves. Starting from this one, this guy, hide it, control click, make the polygon, hide it, show the curve, this guy, this guy, this guy. Oh, I didn't get my curve in the selection. This guy, this guy. Make it. These are not going to interfere with anything else. I move on to the next one. This guy, hide it. Control click. Let's make the segment. Hide it. Turn the curve back on. This guy. Control click this guy. Control click this guy. Okay, obviously this needs to be automated, right? If I had all the time in the world, I would do that, or I would make videos. Anyway, no excuses. It sucks. Select the curve, hide it, control click, make the segment, hide it, turn the curve back on, this curve, this point, make the segment, don't wait to hide it. Alright, that's 3 of 4 for the bottom. This guy, hide it. Control click, make the segment, hide it. And the reason I'm hiding these curves is, as I said in the last episode, I need to be 100% clear that I'm picking my black point, not the point on the end of this curve that FreeCAD creates on the end of the curve. I wish I could say this curve never allows selection of the endpoints, but there's a better solution, as I mentioned. I will add a tool to this so that when you just click a curve and then hit this tool, it will simply look to see if points have been placed on the curve and give you the segment that corresponds to whatever point it finds below and whatever points it finds above. I don't have that right now. What's the last one I created? The one on the bottom. Click the curve again. I don't need to hide it. I just click these 2 points. The reason I don't need to hide it here is because there's no curve endpoint that could cause possible confusion. Okay. Turn these guys back on. I have all the points at the bottom of, I have all the curve segment polygons at the bottom of my spans. Now when I'm at the top, the points that I will want to use are the endpoints of those curves. And I'll still need to have quick access to this. I'll leave it open. It's not a problem. It's the same curves. Matter of fact, I don't need to look at the bottom ones. But as far as the points we're going to use, it's not these. It's not those. And it's not any of, actually it is these guys. Okay, so I'm going to leave this on. I look at the starts. I don't want any starts. I'm done with starts. I just want the ends. And there's actually no confusion here because, actually, though there is confusion. There's plenty of confusion with these guys. Because I don't want to confuse the endpoints of the curves that go around the layout with the endpoints of the spans. So I'm just going to turn on the endpoints of the span. And it's just these last 4 for these guys. Remember, I already have all the polygons on the top layout. I just want the verticals. Okay. This guy. From here to here. Oh, the curve fell out of my selection. Try control, click, click. I can see that everything is in a selection. I make the polygon. Then I hide it. Click this guy, hide it. Control click, make the segment. Next one, counterclockwise. This guy, this piece. Oh, maybe my control key is giving me a hard time. Make sure I pull it. Click, click. Hide that piece. Select the curve, hide it. Click this point, make the segments, show the previous segments. I'm done with these 2. Move on, counterclockwise. This guy, this guy, this guy. Make the segment, hide that segment. This curve. This point. Oh, you know, I can still hide here. It'll hide the point. That's not a big deal as long as I don't have stuff in the way. So now I have the curve selected, the first point selected, and now I selected this guy. I can still apply the function and get what I want. Let me find out which point was turned off. Turn it back on. Show both pieces. I am done with this curve here. Last curve, this guy here. Starting here to here, make the segment, hide that last segment, select the curve, hide it, from here to here, make the segment, show everything, show all the previous ones that I had hidden. And then here we go. For the front and the back, I have prepared all the segments I need. Once again, you can see that I'm doing the front face, all 4 corners on the front face, all 4 corners on the back face, but nothing front to back. I can only do this one time per corner, specifically for 3-face corners. So I have 3 faces around this corner. I can only do this once. Okay. Now I'm going to collapse these right off the bat. Make a folder for these segments. Make another folder for the curves I'm going to make from them. And I'm going to grab all of these, stick them in here. And these are roll, segment, polys. And here it's going to be roll, segment, curves. I'm going to go here, put myself where I can see them all basically. I'm just going to do a massive thing of clicking this function, hitting the down arrow. So click the function, hit the down arrow, click the function, hit the down arrow, function, down, 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 function, down. Hit the function, scroll. Down, function, down, function, down, function, down, function, down, function, down. Yep. As soon as I'm done making this series of videos, I am doing a massive set of automation programming. Because when doing a aside, normally when I'm working on a model, I'm working on a very specific aspect of the model that's related to programming new functions. I don't usually just sit there and make a massive model based on existing functions. I'm always working on something new. So even the best way I can use the system is pretty horrible when I sit down to do a huge chunk of work at a time. But we got it, and it was a finite amount of time, and because it is a finite amount of time, I said, screw it, I'm just going to make the videos. Okay, I have all my segments. Now I'm going to I'm going to hide a bunch of stuff. I don't need to look at any of these points anymore. I don't need to look at any of these. These points here should have turned off when I turn off my blending setup. Let me cycle it again. Ooh, nice. And hide it again. Okay. For the next phase, all we need is the surfaces. We're going to make a bunch of little cut pieces from this and this. So first I'm going to make all the little squares here that I will round. This face. Oh, which one should I do first? Remember, I did everything in good order, right? First I went around the bottom loop, then I went around the top loop, and then I went bottom to top, counterclockwise. Which corner should be the first corner? I should always start at the bottom left and go this way. So if I go here, do I have everything that I need to start on this corner? Yes, I do. So should I do this one first or this one first? It's not a huge deal, but when I did the blends, I always started on this side because I was starting from here, from the middle, and going counterclockwise. So if I start from the middle of this edge and I go counterclockwise, that means I'm doing this corner first. Let's just follow that. This guy, this guy. Oh, sorry. Hit the surface, and I want this portion here and this portion here. Make the segment. On this next face, there are none. On this, now I go all the way back to here. This face, the back face, these two pieces. Then this face, these two pieces. Then I'm all the way back around. Now I finish this. Now I finish this piece. It's silly, but it's methodical. And these models, the topology could be anything you want, right? As long as it's four-sided, you can build a topology that does anything you want. So the only thing that matters is that you remember which order you did things in. Later, I would like to make higher level tools, and then I might be able to do all of this for you, but this is the way it is right now. So I did everything around the bottom for this type of object. I'm going to make all the objects of this type first. So now I jump to the top. I start on this face and I go counterclockwise, so that takes me to this corner. This face, this guy, here. I turn around counterclockwise, takes me to the back face. This guy, this guy, this face, this guy, this guy. This face, this guy, this guy. Okay. I now have all 8 of these pieces that serve the specific function that they will be rounded. Okay. 4 on the front, 4 on the back. What is next? Next, I'm going to do the blends. I'm going to do the new pieces of the main grids that I need for the edge blends. I don't know why it's not recomputing anything. Okay, just wanted to think for a second. No big deal. Make my life easier. I'm gonna grab all these curves. Already made a folder for them. And close that folder. Here, these are my grids to round. Roll. These are the roll segment grids to round. Do I need segments? No, I don't need the word segment in here. Grids to round are always segments. So that's enough. Keep it short. Okay, so now I want to do the edge blends. I need the middle pieces of the curves. This goes all the way back to the first things we created, the middles of the curves. Okay. So I start on this face in the middle. I can do this guy. And I always use as a reference the piece on the right. I go counterclockwise in everything I do. So start with the middle. I have the face, the middle. I want this piece. And I'm going to go all around the bottom, which just means I do the back face. The middle, this piece. Now I do the same thing on top. This guy here, I go counterclockwise. This piece. With this face, this piece, I go counterclockwise. This piece. I didn't get my curve piece here. Okay, now I think I have it. I hope my selection is good. Yep, it worked. Okay, so the other edge of this blend here will be unchanged. The other piece of this blend here will be unchanged. But what about over here? Over here, it will also be unchanged. So I think I'm good. I'm less worried about getting every single possible piece I need right here than I am about being methodical in the order I create things. So I'm going to say that I'm happy for now. Now I do know that I need this piece over here, and by extension, I will also need this piece over here, this piece over here, this piece over here, and same thing in the back. So I'm going to start on this face and go counterclockwise. That means this edge. Oh, I don't have the piece I need to represent this over here. That's fine. If there's no other option, then I use this piece. The corresponding section here will be unchanged. I go around. Back face, this piece, and this time I do have the piece counterclockwise, and it's also the only one I have, so I use it. This piece here, the middle, I don't have a piece up top counterclockwise, I just use the one on the bottom. So that's where it's being defined, so it's fine. And then I come around to the front. Click this guy, this guy, this guy. I don't know if you've noticed, but things are moving faster. We are getting a lot more as we move along, and we're getting higher level objects much faster than the low level. So it was very painful making the points, very painful cutting the curves, but in my book, things are picking up. Now I'm back on the front. I'm on this face. I want to go counterclockwise, so I take this edge piece, this middle piece, this setback. These faces are unchanged. I move along. This piece, this middle. I'm going to rotate. I can see it, but I'm going to rotate so it's clear. This face, this middle, this setback. This face, this middle, this setback. Okay, so these will be all my... Oh no, I have one more. I finished the loop. I am finally back on the front face. This piece, this face, this piece, this piece. Okay, so these are all the new segments of the original surfaces that are used to make edge points. New folder. It's going to be roll grids edge to blend. Something like roll edge grids to blend. All of these, stick them in here. Close the segment curves again, although we will need them. Just for now, I just wanted to close it for a second. Okay. Now what do I want? I need the backfill surfaces. Let me show you real quick what I mean. If I look at my final surfaces, my restored surfaces are right here, and there's a gap. There's now a gap between the edge grid to blend and the restored surface. I need to backfill this piece with more restored surfaces. But when I go to select this middle grid, see right now it's letting me, but it's kind of a crapshoot what it chooses. See, it's got this highlighted. Okay, this time it picked the curve, but it could just as easily decide that it wants to give me this grid here. So I'm just going to hide all the edge grids to blend. And as a visual indication, what I want to create is I want to create the strips here, here, and here. I start on this face here, and I'm going to do all the bottom ones. I'm going to do all the bottom pieces all around, then I'm going to do all the vertical strips all around. This face, the bottom strip is this guy, and I go counterclockwise to pick my reference. I have a split curve here and a split curve here. I have the option of choosing my curves counterclockwise, so that's what I do. Okay, this is backfilled. Go around to the bottom. This guy, right here, it's backfilled. Now, I could do two different things. I could make this some little strip up top and then do the verticals, or I could just do all the verticals. I'm going to do all the verticals so that the order is I'm making all these strips for the bottom portion. Then I'll make them all for the top. There's no perfect order. Just do something that you're likely to remember. I start on this face and I go counterclockwise. So it's this piece right here. Counterclockwise takes me to the back face. This face, this one, this one. This face, this one, this one. And ideally, if I have the time to write the program to automate all this stuff, the way I'm clicking things here is the way I would show you the parameters, so that the parameters are generally organized in a consistent manner. So now I finish the back face. Now I come back to the front and I do this last one here. This guy, this guy, this guy. Every order you pick on doing these things is going to make sense sometimes and not make sense sometimes. So just pick what you like. This guy. Am I going to do all these strips first and then the back sides? Actually, yes, I am. I'm just going to make it kind of a mirror of the bottom. I'm not going to do the verticals, then these guys. I'm going to do this one and move counterclockwise. It's this piece. Because you have free topology, there is no perfect organization to this that I have found yet. I'm sure as I program the automation, something will come up that is just clearly superior to the other ones. But it's the act of modeling and the act of writing the automation that shows you what it is. Okay, I'm back on the front. Now I'm going to do the verticals. This guy, this guy, this guy. I move on to the back face. So, you know what? I'm going to hide the restored surfaces. They're ugly and they don't help anything right now. I just wanted to show you where the borders were. This face. Come on. This face. On this edge. And the only reference I have is right here. So that's what I use. This face. This edge. This far back. And now I keep going counterclockwise. Takes me back to the front. This face. This edge. This edge. Make the segment. Is that everything? I think it is. Yep. These are, oh, I did something wrong right here and I was talking, I didn't catch it. You know what? I'm going to use this opportunity to show you how to fix that. This piece here. I don't want to delete it and recreate it because it'll be out of order. It's not that hard to fix just a single reference. So this guy right here, I go to its properties. I look at its data. It has a reference surface, okay? And it has two reference curves. Come on. this guy right here. One of these has a lower number than the other. I know that one of them is this curve right here. It has to be, and then the other one, the other one is this one right here. And I should have clicked this one. I made a reference to this, but it should have been this. So this curve here was made, if I go counterclockwise, this curve here was made before this one. And this curve here was certainly made before this middle piece right here. So between this one and this one would make first. So this one is later, and this is the one I want to change. I'm going to take the 292. See, I really wish it would highlight right now, but it doesn't, unfortunately, so I have to guess. I'm going to replace it with this piece and see what that does. Okay. Update. It did what I wanted. I was really surprised that it was only... I want to click on something real quick just so it doesn't highlight that cell, because I can't read it when it's highlighted. I was really surprised that this was at 274 and this was only at 293. I thought there would have been a lot more curves in between. It turns out that, no, there weren't. But I got what I wanted. And so knowing the vague order you did things in, 90% of the time, when you're looking at these things and you're like, which one am I supposed to click? Because I can't, it doesn't highlight when I click here, unfortunately. So I don't know which one I'm supposed to change. If you had any kind of vague order to the way you do things, you'll be able to tell from the numbers. It's obviously not ideal. It should just highlight, but it doesn't. Sorry. Okay, so now I have all these pieces. What are all these pieces? Let me collapse this folder just so I see all the previous names that I've made. These pieces are roll grids to restore. Roll grids to restore. So now here I am. I have created the grids to round, 8 of them. The grids to blend, lots of them. 3 times 8, 24. And I have created the roll grids to restore. 3 times 4 is 12. So right off the bat, I can go to these grids to restore and just put surfaces right on them. Surface, down arrow, surface, down arrow. Okay. Hide the grids. Take a quick look around. Do I have surfaces everywhere I want? Sure do. All right, and what are these? These are my roll grids restored. Roll. No, these are my roll restored surfaces. No grids. They're not grids. They're restored surfaces. Okay. I hope you appreciate that things move a little bit faster after the curve splitting nightmare. Still slow, but you're creating high-level objects that are going to do a lot of things for you. And the hardest part of Silk is always the beginning of a phase. And the things you do once you've set up the model are very powerful. And they become intuitive if you know where to find the controls. You know, like editing the setbacks by moving the points, I find to be a really good interface. But maybe I'm patting myself on the back a little bit too much, given this nightmare. Okay. Do a quick save on here. Okay. What is next? Well, if you remember, after I had done this, I updated all my blend grids. So I'm going to go here, look at my blend edge surfaces, and I want to update all the grids for these things. So I'm back up in my previous blending setup, and I see blended edge grids. This is going to affect almost all of them. It's not going to affect the ones in the middle going from span to span, but it's going to affect all the ones on the bottom and all the ones on the top. I'm done chopping up the main primary surfaces, so I can hide them. Now visually, does it matter that I'm showing these but I'm not doing anything with them? Not really, but I still want to remove from view anything I'm not using. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not using any of these curves middle anymore. I'm done with that. And I'm not even using the roll segment curves anymore. I've made all my segments. I like to keep these blue surfaces as a visual reference because that's what I'm going to adjust. I'm going to adjust this grid to come here. But you know what? Actually, they're a little bit in the way of me seeing those grids that I'm trying to adjust. Now that I've done that, do I actually want to look at these blend surfaces here? Do they help? They kind of do. I would like to see this purple grid jumping from here to here. But when I only have grids, it kind of looks like crap. Should I turn on the blended edge surfaces or should I turn on the original restored surfaces? What's better visually? I want to see the blends. The blends give me an immediate background when I'm swapping out these grids. So let's start swapping out the grids. And here we're not creating new objects. We're just going to swap in these guys into these guys. So I'm not creating new objects. It doesn't matter what order I do it in. I'm still going to be consistent just to make sure I don't miss any. So I'm going to start from the bottom right here. This grid. I want to swap in this grid. And for all these bottom grids, the first reference grid here is going to be a piece of the bottom, and the second is going to be a part of the span face. So it's always going to be the second one. And there's only two of them to do so. For these two grids, I'm going to swap out the second piece. So here I am. Second piece, swap it with this new one right here. I click it, I hit OK. What do I expect to see? I expect to see the purple grid, which right now goes to here. I want to see it jump down to here. Hit F5. It did so. It jumped. That's what I wanted. Now I can select the input grid. I've used it. I hide it. I go to the back. This grid. Second piece. Replace with this guy. Okay. F5. It did what I wanted. I hide this guy. Back on my front face. I'm going to do this loop around the spans, starting with this guy. This grid. It should be the first piece. Now that I'm going around counterclockwise, I should have put the piece of this face and then the piece of the other face here, which is not changing. So let's see if I did it right. I replaced the first reference with this new one. Hit F5. I got what I wanted. Move towards the back. This time, This blend here should be defined in terms of this face and then that face. So it's the second one I want to change, because I'm going counterclockwise. And the new grid is on this side. So I select this piece, hit F5, and it did what I wanted. This piece here jumped out. On this grid, it should be the first one. But I noticed that that I have 107 in front of 106. So really, I probably should have defined this grid going around this way, and it should have been 106, then 10, then 107. Let's find out. I'm going to adjust it as if this one was first. And if I'm wrong, it's going to do this really weird thing where the two grids are on top of each other and it makes a mess. Yeah, now the two grids are on top of each other and it's bad. I'm going to Control Z. And let's see, I want to actually fix this for real. The cheap trick here would be to say, well, you know what? If this one was wrong, I'm just going to do this one. So this here should replace 106, but then I still want it to go towards 107. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I am going to replace the first reference with this piece, but then I'm going to replace this one here from 106 to 107. Ready? 107 is the number I need to remember. I go here. I do replace it with this one because I want to restore the order. Okay. F5, F5, that made a mess. But I go back to this grid right here, and I say instead of 106, now I want this to be 107. And because the lists are huge and I have a lot of folders to find this, I'm going to do it by element type. Control grid 44 2-edge segments. So I'm going to go filter by type, control grid 44, control grid 44 2-edge segment. I have my filter active and I want to find 107. Okay, F5, and now I have restored the proper counterclockwise flow. And this blend has shifted outward, which is what I wanted. Now I'm coming back to the front. This grid, 108 to 109. Great, which one is it that I want to replace? If I'm going in this direction, it should be the second one. So I'm going to replace 109 with this new piece here. Okay, F5, I got what I wanted. So I'm going to go to my grids to my restored surfaces. Say here, I'm going to take the first, I'm going to take the first 6, I think it should be, and turn them back on. And now I see, yep, my blends with the purple grids have shifted and they align with the new restored surfaces. I forgot to turn stuff off to hide the new grids here, so I'm going to do that. Hide the new grid segments. There we go. The entire bottom is now done in terms of the cutbacks for the rounding grids, the setbacks including the surfaces, and which are new, and the grids for the blends have been updated with the new segments, and the surfaces have updated as well. Let's go to the top. And I'm going to do the top face first and then the spans, just because I'm doing it as a mirror of what I did on the bottom. This guy here, what do I want? I want to update the one on the vertical face, which should be the first one. And it was also created, this front face here should have been created before the cap, because this is a cap surface. So I expect the number of the piece that I want here to be lower than the piece here. Is that the case? The number on this face should be lower than the number on this piece, and they should go in this direction. It seems wrong. I should have had a lower number here than on here. The one that I want to change is most likely, is guaranteed to be this lower number one here. So I'm just going to swap it in. This time I'm not going to fix the order. I'm lazy. Just going to swap in this one. Let's see if it does the right thing. Yeah, it did the right thing in terms of adjusting the setback, which I should really swap these two. Too lazy right now. I go to the back face. What did I do on this one? Okay, here I did the correct thing. I moved from this face to this face. This face was created first, it has a lower number. That face was created after, it has a higher number. So what I want to change right now is the lower number. Update, it did the right thing. You know what? I'm gonna fix this guy. I want to swap these two. So I'm just going to go to 131 is the magic number I need to remember. I can't forget 131. But I'm going to replace it with 150. This is going to be completely nonsensical. I'm going to have two of the same pieces of grid defining a blend. Doesn't matter. 150. Update. It's thinking really hard. Did it do it? It did it, but it's broken. It refuses to compute. Great. So I just go back to now I go to the second one because I want 150 to be the first and whatever goes here to be after. So I go here, filter by type. This is the type. What do I want? I want 131. It's not letting me do it. That must mean I have a dependency hiding somewhere that makes 131 unavailable to do what I want. You know what? I'm going to cancel. I'm going to Control Z, put the other one back on 131. It was working. I'm going to ignore it. The links here automatically figure out what is a valid thing to use as a reference. So I might have a loop of references that I'm not aware of, preventing me from doing the thing I just said I want to do. So, too bad. I'm going to turn these back on for a second because I accidentally hid this one where I didn't mean to. Now I go to the front face and I adjust these guys. This guy here, I want to swap in this piece. It should be the first one and the numbers go in the correct order. So I'm going to swap it in with the first one. F5, it adjusted, the gap adjusted correctly. I go to the back. If I did things correctly, it should be the second one, and things go in order correctly. So I update the second one. F5, the gap adjusted correctly. This guy. This grid. It should be the first one. The numbers go in order correctly. So I adjust the first one with the new segment. Hit F5, my gap updated correctly. Back to the front. This grid, the numbers are in correct order. This is the first piece, this is the second piece, so I adjust the second one. If you build the right topology with all the splits right off the bat, you don't have to do any of these updates. You create all the stuff automatically, but we're adapting an existing model to add a new feature that we didn't know we needed earlier. So this is an important skill, and we're doing it with a lot of repetition. I've updated all my grids. I don't need to show these pieces anymore. And as a matter of fact, I don't need to see any of these purple guys anymore. Come back here. I update all my restored surfaces all the blends work. They're fine, but I still have errors. The errors are now related to the corners. So it's going to get interesting when we have to fix this blend right here. And we haven't looked at that before because we were just doing one corner. Let's fix all the corners first, and then finally we'll fix these areas here. So now I've updated the restored surfaces. I've updated the blends. What do I want to do? I want to create new objects to round these grids. I'm on the front face. I'm going counterclockwise, so I should do this one first. Click this point, rounding grid, hide the input. Then this one, click the point, round the grid, hide the input. It's right there. Click the point, round the grid, hide the input. Click the point, round the grid, hide the input. Now we go to the top. Counterclockwise means this guy first. Round the grid, hide the input. Then we go around in a loop that takes us to this guy right here. I'm not going to rotate the view. Then it takes us, we keep going around the back. Takes us to this guy, around the grid, hide the input. Then finally back to the front. That's this guy. Around the grid, hide the input. Let's see, I don't need these. Take these. I'm going to put they are 6x4 grids, even though they're a triangle. See, internally there's actually 6 points collapsed here together. Okay, this guy here wants a 6-4 surface. Apply the tool, down arrow. Apply the tool, down arrow. Oh, wait a second. Because was it working? Did it create independent surfaces? No, because there's errors. It's flagging the error every time, and it's making me lose the focus. So that's annoying. I did the first one, manually select the next one, put a 6-4 surface, scroll back manually, do the next one, scroll back manually, do the next one, scroll back manually. Yeah, having errors in the middle of the model is annoying. I intend to write a freeze feature on all my objects that'll make it so that when you have an object that's broken like this because you're working on another part of the model, you'll be able to just hit freeze. It'll stop that object from trying to execute, so there won't be any errors. But then when I do that, I also need to play with the display here and put a little frozen icon. That's a lot of work. I have no idea when I'm going to get around to that. Okay, how many did I make? I made all 4 on the bottom. This first one up here. So there are 3 more to make. That means that the next one is this guy. Oops, I already made it. So that means I only have 2 more to make. The next one is this guy. And that's it. All of these, I'm going to color code red. These are not great final surfaces. Okay, I'm going to need 2 folders. And notice, the more we work, the less objects we have to create. We're combining more and more things together. So the hardest part is at the beginning, and then things get easier as you move on for each type of object. Here, these are my roll rounded grids. And these are my roll rounded surface previews. I'm just going to flag the folder as not being a great final surface. Grab all of these, stick them in here. grab all of these, stick them in here. Man, these errors are really annoying in the way they disrupt the workflow. But I want to first make all the objects we did in the last video, and then we'll fix the metal. So right now I'm ready to start filling in these guys. How is that going to work? It's going to work the same way we make these guys, which means we need to make these, we make subgrids in between the blend grids. So it means that I need my blended edge grids. And I don't need these surfaces here, but I need their grids. This is visually very confusing. So I'm going to turn on the restored surfaces, and I'm going to turn on the blend surfaces. Now I have a slightly better shot at seeing the grids I need. And I'm going to start with this corner first. I'm on the front face, bottom, and I'm going counterclockwise. This is the first corner I run into. I'm going to start right here and go counterclockwise. So first, this grid, subgrid 3, 3. Then this grid, subgrid 3, 3. And now I can select all the things in the window, and I don't have things on top of each other. This grid, subgrid 3, 3. And finally, this grid, back to the spider web, subgrid 3, 3. Yeah, I have to create 4 per corner, but now I'm able to work visually. I get to this corner. I consider it to be on this face. So I work from here, counterclockwise to here. This guy, subgrid. This guy to the spider web, subgrid. Spider web to this guy, subgrid. Now I'm on this face, keep moving. This is my corner. Start right here, counterclockwise. This guy, subgrid. This guy, subgrid. This guy, subgrid. This guy, subgrid. Pause for a second. Obvious automation that I need to write here. If you once you have these surfaces here, including the surface previews, you should only have to click on here, 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 here. And then when you do that, you should be able to click surface 6.6 directly. It should automatically figure out what the grids are for all 4 surfaces you clicked on. Once it's figured out all the grids, it should automatically make all the subgrids. Once it's got all the subgrids, it should automatically make the 6.6 surface. And once it's got the 6.6 grid, and once it's got that grid, it should automatically click create the surface. It's completely obvious. I just need to write it. Click this, click this, click this, click this, hit this tool. Everything else should just happen. I'm sorry that it doesn't yet. So we just have to keep working by hand. But any chance I get, I will write that. Now I'm on the left face. I want to start from the bottom corner right here. This grid, subgrid. This grid, subgrid. This guy, spider grid, subgrid. And then finally, spider grid. Oh, this surface is in the way. That's annoying. So I'm going to turn it off. I only turned it on to talk about what I wish I had time to write. Here. It didn't like that for some reason. I must have had one more thing selected because This is perfectly valid. Selecting this and then selecting that is perfectly valid. So I must have had something more in my selection that was wrong. Okay. That's all the ones on the bottom. For the top, go to the front. No more talking. This guy. Didn't like my selection. I personally never enjoy watching silent videos, even if the person who's doing the tutorial is very talented. So I try not to make silent videos, but I don't want to slow things down too much. Oh, this time I had the wrong selection. It does go quite a bit faster when I don't talk. I'm here, just align. I want to be consistent. I consider myself on this face, so I start here. Didn't like that. Did it make a bad object? Yeah, I need to. Okay. Get rid of bad objects when you create them, unless you want to spend the time fixing them. But when you haven't created anything on top of an object, it's hard to justify fixing the object instead of just deleting it and making a new one. You don't want to do that when you have downstream work that depends on it. But if you just clicked something, if you just created something and you just had a bad selection, it's fine to delete. Wait a minute. Do I consider myself to be on this face here? Well, I kind of do actually, because I'm working counterclockwise. So that was actually an okay object. This guy. Well, if I'm on here and I'm working counterclockwise, it's this guy first, then this guy, then this guy, this guy. If I made some of these backwards, it's going to be really fun, and you'll see the surface twisting when I go to create the surface. Easy to fix, and you get a diagnostic on it fairly quick. Okay. I have all my subgrids. Now I'm going to create the final grids. And let me see here. I don't need to look at this. I don't need to look at the blended. The surfaces are fine. I don't need these grids anymore. I would like to look at my surface previews, make a new folder. These are my roll, corner, subgrids. Let's make the final grids here. This counterclockwise here, here, here. Make the surface, make the grid, make the surface. Nothing was twisted. It made the surface correctly. Then this guy. This grid, this grid, this grid, this grid. Full grid. Surface. Nothing was twisted. Over here. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Full grid. Doesn't look twisted. Full surface. this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, full grid, nothing looks twisted, surface to the top. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Full surface. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, full grid, nothing looks twisted, full surface. I almost wish I had done one thing wrong so I could show you, but that's full grid, not twisted, full surface. Last one. I'm starting on this face, going counterclockwise. This is the first one. Nope. This right here. Then this. And this. And this. Full grid. Doesn't look twisted. Full surface. Okay. So now finally, we've got all our surfaces here, and the one thing that's missing is adjusting this piece here. Now, this is going to be a little bit different each time, because you're going to have any number of spans in between these two. Maybe you have like 2 spans like right here. Maybe you had no spans. Maybe this was just a pure cube, 1 by 1 by 1. So by now, everything would be automatically fixed, because this piece would be the same as this piece. And there wouldn't be this guy in the middle. So it's pretty much context dependent. Let's see what's happening here and what we need to adjust. This guy here is based on this grid. This grid is based on these 2 segments. I'm going to turn them both on. And these 2 segments are based on pieces of curve. So I'm going to do the 218 first. And this is what it's based on. And this curve itself, now these guys are in the, okay, I'm going to hide the segments, because all I need to do is I need to worry about, like, this curve is not going far enough side to side anymore. How do I fix that? Well, what is this curve itself based on? It's based on this segment polygon right here. And this segment polygon is based on points. Based on points 218 and 219. I'm going to turn on this one. Well, the names were the names of the links. Let's see. So I have one point over here. I don't need to see this stuff in the middle anymore. Now I've identified the kind of object that's controlling this. So it's this guy right here. I'm just going to turn all of these on. It's this loop. So front and back. This point here, so far, was following the red point on the bottom. I go in my blending setup. I turn on all my cuts. I'm going to hide all these new grids for the 6-6 surfaces here. I'm going to hide all the subgrids. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to turn on my roll cuts. So here's what's happening. The width of this edge blend right here is defined by the red points right now. And that used to be fine. That used to be exactly what we wanted, because these blends were going all the way up to the red points. But now we've shifted these blends out. They've become smaller, and we backfilled this area right here. So now this blend needs to come all the way up to this point here. So there's 2 ways to look at it. You could say, well, do we need a new segment of the curve that's over here that goes from here all the way over to here? We could make a new one, or we can simply say this middle piece no longer follows the red point. It should follow the green point. So I take this point here, take its name, and I'm going to break the previous synchronization. I'm going to say this point no longer follows the main cut. It now follows the roll cut. And if I independently connected this point at the top directly back to this point here, only this point will change. If you connected this point here to this point here, and then you connected this point here to this guy, instead of jumping back to the bottom, when you change this point here will move as well. So it depends on how you set up the synchronization. I'm pretty sure that I set up this point to look directly at the red point on the bottom. So when I change the reference of this from red to green, this blend will just pop left. Let's find out. I go equal, and I'm going to replace this, which came from here, with the green one. I paste the name of the green one, type U, hit OK, hit F5. It just popped right here, and the top is still fine. So now I need to move this guy based on the yellow point over here. Where is that? Oh, because I only turned on one loop. So let me turn on all the loops. I turn on roll cuts left, let me turn on roll cuts right, roll cut tops, bottom, and tops. Just all of them for now. I hid this one. I don't know why. Just because it was selected. I'm going to turn it back on just so we can see it. Okay. So we just shifted this point here to follow green instead of red. And so now this blend, instead of stopping right here, it goes all the way up to here. I want to do the same thing for this guy. Instead of following red, it's going to follow green. Take this guy. Steal the name. Go to this guy. Equal. Paste. Click. U. Click. OK. F5. This point moved correctly. Did I screw up the top? No, I didn't screw up the top because this point here was looking all the way back to red already by itself. It was not dependent on this as a middle step. I fixed the front. Now I'm going to fix the back. Here, I don't want this to follow orange anymore. I want it to follow yellow. So I take yellow. I steal its name. I go to here, equal, paste, U, OK, F5. This point moved fine. Did I screw up the top? No, I didn't screw up the top. This point here stayed tied to orange, not yellow. Fix the last one. This guy here follows orange. I want it to go to yellow. Go to here, formula, equal, paste, U, F5. This is fixed. Now I still have errors. But now these errors are no longer about my blue surfaces. These remaining errors are only about the preview blends. Remember this business with the 6.3 and the 6.6? I'm probably going to delete them. There's no reason I would ever want to go back from rolled blends to preview blends. Although, it doesn't hurt to have them in the model. But right now it's too painful to have them in here because they're going to bust our workflow. So I am going to delete them. And I'll just save this fully finished model. It would be nice if I could just freeze them and leave them in the model, but right now they're causing errors, so no. Close all of this, close all of this, close all of this. Here, what are these guys? Close all of that. I need two folders. One folder for these control grids, one folder for these surfaces. Two folders, what are they? These are the roll, double blend grids, and the roll, double blend surfaces. Click, control, 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 control. Drag and drop. Click, shift select, drag and drop. And now, let me double check that the blends here that I said should be fixed are actually fixed. Close all of this, go to Final Surfaces, and in my corner blend surfaces, I don't want to turn on these star surfaces. I just want to turn back on the 4-sided blends in the middle. And yep, they're already fixed. Okay, it's unfortunate. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save here. I'm going to control cancel. I want to do the save a copy. I want to save a copy, and this one is called keep preview blends. That way, if I actually program the freeze feature in some way, shape, or form, I can go back to this model and say, hey, actually it's not broken and it's workable. But for now, I'm going to do save. And here I am going to delete these surfaces. These were the 3-sided preview blends. Delete all of those. Take this. Delete all the bad links. I still have busted subgrids. I'm going to delete all of those. I don't need the star grids anymore. And now I should be good. What I'm actually surprised here is that I still have some of this type of subgrid. I wonder what they are and how they can still be considered. Oh, it's because these guys are not actually busted. It's only the piece in this corner that's busted. You know what? That's fine. I'm going to leave these. They're just not being used, but they don't hurt anything. They don't break my workflow. I don't care. And we are done creating new objects. And I'm going to cut off the tutorial, this video, which is already way too long. But first, I'm going to play a little bit with this to show you that these guys are just way more powerful. They need tuning. Real quick, these guys here, this default grid has a nasty shape right here, and it can be tuned to be better. But even with the nasty shape, you don't see it. In the default configuration, with a fairly equal 3-sided setup, you don't even see the problem, even though the grid already looks bad. But you can adjust this to smooth this out. See, this point here just needs to shift along a little bit, and then everything will be fairly nice and even. Not perfect, but much more nice and even. But for now, let's just do something fun. This guy here, go all the way to 0.49. Came all the way to here. This guy here, all the way to 0.51. Back down to 0.51. Then this guy here, let's see, this guy's probably at 0.75. So let's take this guy here and say go all the way up to 0.625. And this is still fairly high quality. Remember, as long as I flip this guy, and as long as I give this thing a tiny little bit of love. Let's just do something else at the top right. So at the top right here. So we've already got all these parameters. These 2 loops here have already fed to the top. My only remaining parameter is this one here. And I'm going to bring this back down. This is 0.25. I'm going to go to 0.375. So I've made these cuts really big. But now I still have a little bit of freedom here. I can take these points here and increase the size of this red part. I'm going to do it a little bit different on all sides. What? No. I hit delete instead of equal. Right here. I want to change just this number. Leave the formula alone, but I can change just this number. So I'm going to make this 0.25. Hit F5. See, I have now the red piece is much bigger on this side. Let's do it also on that side. Here, equal. And so here it's the reverse. Here I decreased 0.75 to 0.25. For this one, I want to increase 0.25 to 0.75. And it updated. And now here, I'm going to take this guy, go equal, and instead of being 0.75 from this corner here, I'm going to bring it back down to 0.25. I'm going to cut it off right here. Next video, we're just going to play with this. We're going to make it into a solid with the help of the curves workbench. And we're going to play around with these blends. And we're going to tune a few of them. Tuning these blends means going to the control grid and editing some of these control parameters, the control parameters in the subgrid. But let's not worry about that right now. I'm going to save. This is my final file. Actually, no, not yet. I'm going to do one more edit on these. And this guy here is at 0.75 from here. And this is at 0.25. I'm going to go from 0.25 all the way to 0.625. Look at that. I'm not going to turn up the quality, but with some tweaking of what's available in the blends, we can make sure that this works fairly well. And you can see that now I can do a lot. It's not like the dumb preview blends that just kind of sit there and have a defect in the middle. I have a lot of power over these things. And remember that this model is still almost all straight lines as far as the curves that control it. When we do this on the surfboard, we're going to get some really cool results. All right, I'm going to save here. Yeah, I had finished the video, but I'm jumping back in here into recording to do a little bit more. I just realized that there's a surface here that didn't update correctly. I fixed the one on the bottom here. It should be like this, and it's way too big. That's because it was based on this middle section, but in the new setup, this piece here should be based on the middle curve that should be right here, right? Instead of being really large, it should be tiny. So let's fix that real quick, because later I only want to organize and finish this model completely. So here, I need to turn on all my metals right here. And now I'm going to jump into this surface right here. You can see like it's highlighting all across here. And I want it to end up being just this size. So I click this guy. I find its control grid edge segment. And it's this guy right here. So it's based on two curves, 218 or 270, right? I'm going to turn on that grid so I can edit it after I identify. I need to either switch 218 or 270 to be this curve instead. So I just click on here, and this is 218. So right now, this piece right here is looking at this, and I want it to look at this instead. So in this grid, I'm going to replace 218 with this. Okay. I updated it. It's now this. Now the grid is tiny in the middle. I hide it and I see, oh, now I have 4 distinct surfaces and they're not on top of each other. And this is similar to the fix I did where I had to adjust this guy here, this point, to follow the green instead of following the red. And now I'm going to check the backside. It has the same problem. So I look at this guy. I turn on its grid. Its grid is using 226 and 278. So I look at this one. It says control poly segment 169. Well, that's annoying because that does. Oh, no. I confuse myself because I'm looking at the control polygon of this grid. Click outside here. This right. Let's start over. This guy right here. One of these two curves is not valid anymore. Whichever one it is, I want to use this little piece instead. So it's 226 and 278. When I look at this curve right here, it's 226. So it's 226 that needs to be swapped out. I select the grid. And I say I'm going to swap out 226. And I want it to use this short piece instead. I hit OK. Hit F5 to update. And now it's in the right spot. Okay. So now I'm going to save this. Hide these metals. Close this. I'm going to save this, and this is the file I'm going to share. As full blend solid. Congratulations if you made it through to the end of the video, or even congratulations if you bothered to skip to the end of the video. Catch you next time.